So, The Princess Bride, one of the best movies ever. My favorite part, just in terms of like action, is the sequence at like towards the beginning where Wesley fights the three challenges. Right, he fights Inigo with the sword, he fights Fezzik hand to hand, and then he fights Vicini with his mind. Right, they have the battle of wits. I love the sequence, and I love that he's shown to be so just awesome, just badass. That he beats each of them at their own best strength, right? But the only thing wrong with it, I always thought, was that, in a sense, it's not quite perfect because it's two physical challenges and a mental challenge. Wouldn't it be even better if it was one physical challenge, one mental challenge, and one spiritual or moral challenge? But I mean, how would you do that? Like, how would you even do that? So I always let it slide. But it occurred to me recently that they actually do give him that moral challenge, because at the end of the fire swamp sequence when he's captured, spoilers, I guess. Of course, he gets tortured and killed, or mostly killed, and then all of his physical prowess is gone. Right, he comes back for the climax in the castle, but he has no strength. So Fezzik and Inigo are doing all the fighting at this point, and he's down to just his wits. And when Humperdinck comes in, Westley gets up and basically uses all of the strength he has left just to stand and raise his sword, and he bluffs, right? He says, "Drop your sword." And of course Humperdinck does. Why? Because Humperdinck is a coward, right? All Humperdinck had to do was walk over and push him with a finger, and Wesley would have, fallen over, and Humperdinck wins. But Humperdinck doesn't have the moral, spiritual strength to defeat Wesley, right? And so Wesley does win that third and final match on the moral, spiritual plane, or technically fourth, because he fights Inigo and Fezzik both on the physical plane. And you see what I'm saying? I also really like that, because Buttercup is, honestly, mostly kind of, I don't want to say dead weight, but a damsel in distress. She's mostly, "Oh, Wesley, it's a giant rodent," and so forth. But it is Buttercup that calls Humperdinck out on his cowardice again and again. And I like that they at least give her that moment to be strong and to show us her also triumphing over Humperdinck on that moral sphere as well. But anyway, so there it is. Wesley does have a physical, mental, and moral / spiritual battle in the Princess Bride, which just makes the movie all the more better.